Hello, I'm Archie Luxury and welcome to the Archie Luxury program. Today we're comparing anti-magnetic watches, and two of the most famous anti-magnetic watches of all time are the Rolex Milgaus and the IWC Ingenieur. Now both of these watches here are late noughties pieces. So similar time, they were on the market roughly at the same time. Two different ways of solving the anti-magnetic problem. The IWC Ingenieur, a long history there, and the Rolex Milgaus, very famous indeed. So let's take a look at these two watches. We'll start off firstly, let's have a look at the Milgaus. Now the Milgaus itself there, the most famous of the Milgaus is the 1019. That's the famous plastic glass piece that most people lust after. Rolex, of course, they stopped producing Milgaus pieces, and they kind of offered the oyster quartz as their solution if you needed a piece which would be comfortable in magnetic environments. But the collector market being what it is, they've always loved the Milgaus, and for good reason, for very good reason indeed. So the Milgaus itself there, what has actually happened with the Milgaus is, well, they had to reissue it. They issued the Milgaus again, and who can blame them? You can hardly blame them. So they've come up. This here is one of the early ones. The later black dial pieces have the orange indices. This is one of the early ones with the white indices, and it's quite an interesting piece here. This is the modern Rolex Milgaus, and it's quite a lovely watch itself there. If we have a look at it, no crown guards on the design there. Very clean design. We'll have a look at the back there, and it says Rolex Oyster Milgaus to signify that it is the anti-magnetic model. Slightly thicker backs. See the back there? They've had to increase that a bit because of the protection on the movement. This is quite a nice piece. It's got no holes case, and it's using one of the more modern Rolex bracelets. If we take a look at that bracelet there, it's the newer type of oyster bracelet, which I think has a much better clasp on it there. So the Rolex Milgaus itself there. The piece itself, some of Milgauses have had turnable bezels. They had a Submariner version of the Milgaus, which had a rotating bezel. But the most Milgauses itself is a very plain, refined watch there. The Milgaus itself, this here is probably the most modern interpretation of the Milgaus. I think with the black dial, this is just legendary. This is what the purist would buy. This is kind of like the best version of the homage to the original Milgaus. Absolutely well-made piece. I just love the orange second hand that you can see going around there, the jagged second hand. That's to signify this is an anti-magnetic watch. Very high quality watch itself there. It has the brushed and polished surfaces there. Very well done indeed. These are not a cheap watch. This is a luxury maker. Rolex very heavily in the luxury market itself there. Nice good size, nice girth on it. Very attractive piece, which I think any Rolex fan or purist would love to have. Let's take a look at the IWC. Now IWC itself there, they actually had their anti-magnetic watches out in the Ingenieur before Rolex had its Milgaus. That's right. The IWC version came out first. The Ingenieur came out first compared to the Milgaus. The Rolex itself there they were revitalized in the 70s by Gerald Genta, and hence this wonderful piece here, which is a modern interpretation of that original Genta design. A lot of key elements have been kept there: integrated bracelet, no crown guards, very clean and elegant. So this piece here, when it was on the drawing table, the designer's table there, IWC set out to market this piece about $500 to $1,000 more expensive than a Rolex sports watch, and they were aiming with quality of an Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. So they were shooting at Rolex, slightly above Rolex price for AP quality. Unfortunately, these weren't a huge success in the commercial market, which is a great shame. The quality of this piece is absolutely amazing. We'll just zoom into this dial here. It's a little bit difficult to photograph with the lighting, but you can see that textured, those eyes, their eye for IWC. Just have a quick, we'll have a try and squinky in there. I for IWC and I for Ingenieur. Look at that there. So IWC also, if we talk about the movement on this piece here, they went for an in-house movement, the 80110 movement, and that movement, a little bit controversial. Some say it was based on a 7750 Valjoux movement, but the reality was only the base plate was based on the 7750. This movement had a IWC's patented winding system, the pendulum winding system, and it also, this piece here also had the movement wrapped in an iron cage to protect it from magnetic fields. Now this piece here came out. This is the steel piece, the 22701. They also had a titanium version, but I think the steel is the classic, the iconic. If we compare the two, if we compare the IWC to the Rolex, which piece is better? Very interesting question indeed there. The back of the Milgaus itself there is nowhere. The IWC walks all over it. I've got to tell you, it's more nicely executed. The bracelet on the IWC is a top-notch bracelet. It uses a system of having a little push circle which you can press and then remove the links very easily. Very ingenious system. The Rolex uses screw-type links, so it's comparing the two. Which of these critters would be the best one to have? Well, that is a very difficult situation, but I think quality-wise, look at that dial on the IWC. It is spectacular. Beautiful block hands on the IWC. This is certainly a quality piece. The IWC also does have a date feature, which is very handy for the scientist who may be wearing this piece. Unfortunately, IWC's gotten a little bit off track in recent times. They've now relaunched the Ingenieur line as a motoring watch. That's right, they've released the IWC Ingenieur chronograph as more of a motoring ring-in, which is a shame because the engineering charm of the original Ingenieur was a anti-magnetic watch. That's always what it was. It was IWC's answer to the Milgaus. So I think they've gotten a little bit off track there. But comparing the two, you can definitely say they are both beautiful wristwatches. Absolutely beautiful. And I've specially brought these two together. Black dial versions, although the IWC does have an anti-magnetic coating on the glass, which does give the dial a blue tinge in certain lighting conditions. The IWC Ingenieur and the Rolex Milgaus, two stunning pieces. These are really, really attractive, stunning pieces. Which one do you prefer? Which piece do you prefer? And I think there's a lot of beauty in both. There is a lot of beauty in both. It depends which school you're coming from, but two very, very well-made watches from two legendary brands. The IWC Ingenieur, great watch paying homage to the Jaeger-LeCoultre design, and the Rolex Milgaus. I'm Paul Pluta on the Archie Luxury channel, bringing you the best of all worlds on YouTube. Tell me which one you think is the best. Comments below, please.